Welcome to the TIAC Talk series. These are short and snappy talks on a variety of topics and issues that TIAC is addressing through its advocacy initiatives on an ongoing basis. Each talk is designed to be practical and informative. By the end, you'll know what concrete actions you can take today to make a difference tomorrow. You'll hear success stories about organizations that are doing things right and how to keep the conversation going after the event. Vous entendrez dans les causeries sous peu des histoires de réussite concernant des organisations qui ont pris des bonnes décisions et sur la façon de poursuivre la conversation après l'événement. Au Canada, le secteur du tourisme emploie une personne sur 10. Nous pouvons contribuer au changement. Our tourism sector employs 1 in 10 Canadians. We can make a difference. So let's get these talks started.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you've been having a great conference so far. I know I have. The speakers have been really fabulous. Let's hope we can continue that trend. Hey, did you know that Canada is now ranked as the world's 3rd leading destination of international students? 3rd is impressive. I mean, of course, I think we should be the best. Let's chart a path forward together. So why are we talking about international students today? Well, let's do a little bit of context setting. Of course, we know 2019 was Canada's best year ever for tourism. And yet at the same time, we were facing a significant skilled labor shortage of close to 100,000 jobs across the country in the tourism sector without workers. And of course, here we are, 2020, not much more needs to be said about what we're experiencing right now. We were in a talent war before this pandemic hit, and our road to recovery will require talent in an ever more competitive space. I want to share my perspective on how I believe international students are one great source of talent for the tourism sector. So let's do a little bit of talking. The Canadian Bureau of International Education reports that in 2019, there were more than 640,000 international students in Canada at all levels of study. That represents a 185% increase over the last 10 years. And good news, if you are a destination marketer promoting Canada, 96% recommend Canada as a study destination. And then again, 60% of those plan to apply for permanent residence. There is our potential talent pool. There are 2 trends that are happening at the same time. Right now, because of demographics, there are fewer and fewer domestic students entering post-secondary education, while the international students continue to increase, which in my opinion, makes for a really incredibly globally diverse classroom, a great precursor to a globally diverse industry. Let's talk a little bit about that international student journey. StatsCan reports that the average annual university undergraduate tuition fee for a domestic student is $6,500 compared to $32,000 for international students. Now, keep in mind, that's average, which means there are institutions that are less than that and institutions that are more than that. And college tuition is about half of that, but does have the same disparity between domestic students and international students. Are you starting to see the picture here? Other financial considerations. They travel to be here. There are living expenses. There are accommodation expenses, food, clothing, life. It's not too much to say that an international student could be investing as much as $200,000 for a 4-year undergraduate university education in our country. Or if you're looking at college students, that could be as close to $100,000. Think about the investment they're making for the chance to grow their career and their lives. Let's talk about what happens when international students hit the job market. Really important, especially if you are an employer out there looking for a talent pool. International students can work while they're in Canada on their study permit up to 20 hours a week during their in-school semesters. and then full-time during the break semesters. So again, part-time, seasonal workers, international students fit that bill beautifully. And then upon graduation, they're eligible for these post-graduation work permits so they can begin working full-time. There's a little bit of nuance here, but essentially for students studying in programs of 2 years in length or more, they're eligible to work for up to 3 years post-graduation before either pursuing permanent residence or returning home. So we just mapped that out for you. If they're here for a 2-year diploma, they have 3 years post-graduation. If they're here for their 4-year university degree, they also have 3 years. That gives you an incredible journey to see international students as your part-time workforce all the way through to launching their careers in tourism. Let's talk a bit about the path to permanent residence. I always start this with the caveat that I am not an immigration lawyer and I'm not an expert. I am just somebody who has spent lots of time in the education system helping and watching international students succeed. Most pursue express entry to permanent residence under something called the Canadian Experience Class. It's a point system that considers language skills, education, and work experience. IRCC, the immigration department of this country, says that international students need 1 year of skilled work experience to apply for PR. Now, most take more than that 1 year, but that is the minimum. And the Canadian government defines that full-time work experience as up to 1,560 hours. You can get that full-time or part-time. Why am I telling you that? If you are an employer out there and you are intentionally recruiting and hiring international students, that will be what they're after. And that gives us our first opportunity to help them enter into careers in tourism post-graduation. We do need to dive a little bit deeper into what this skilled work experience means. Again, these are IRCC definitions. According to the Canadian National Occupational Classification, skilled work experience means jobs either in managerial roles, professional, and technical jobs and skilled trades. Now, this is where most of the hospitality and tourism entry-level jobs live. Supervisors, event planners, cooks, bakers. This is not an exhaustive list, and quite frankly, doesn't represent all of the work opportunities in our great career. But there's good news. Thanks largely to the TIAC policy recommendations, the hospitality and tourism careers are heavily considered in the new NOC updates that are coming in 2021, which could mean that we see more opportunities for international students to enter through careers in the hospitality and tourism sector. This is really good news. We covered a lot of ground there. You understand the international student background, you understand their investments, you understand a little bit now about the immigration process. Let's keep it simple. If you are an employer and you are trying to attract international student workers, or if you're a DMO and you're trying to attract more international students to come to your community, your city, your province, your country, these are the things that we can do to encourage them to enter the tourism industry before entering programs and after graduation. Let's intentionally include them in our hiring practices. Let's understand their journey and the path ahead. And the one real technical requirement, and it's not that much, is be willing to write them employment letters that confirm hours and duties. These are the keys to assisting international students becoming permanent residents. And quite frankly, not really too much for us to do, considering how much they've done to be here and to be pursuing opportunities in our field. Again, really critical for us to reflect on the journey that international students have taken, and ultimately the incredible gift that they bring to us. We as an industry, we as a country, we are the ones who reap the return on their incredible investment. International students, after all, they leave home, they leave their families, they leave their communities, they leave their culture. They invest heavily financially, they work hard, and they persevere. Graduation and completion rates are consistently high among international students. They are so motivated to be here. And so you're asking yourself, why should employers hire international students? I believe that you will gain a diverse and resilient workforce who can relate to a diverse client base. I believe you gain a workforce educated internationally and within the Canadian education system. Many international students come here after completing studies in their own home countries, and then they come through our education system. These are really highly educated people. And at the end of the day, you have an understanding of what motivates your workers from their first job towards their career paths. If you were a marketer out there and I said, I can help you understand the motivation of your customers for the next 5 years, wouldn't you invest in delivering on some value to them? That's exactly what I'm saying here. Part-time work, seasonal work, full-time work upon graduation. You know that there's an incredible pipeline of highly educated, internationally educated, Canadian educated talent ready to join our industry. I think it's really important also for us to reflect on where we are in 2020. Yes, students are still coming to school to study. If they've begun their program in 2020, in fact, they'll be some of the first graduates during a time when we are starting to see, hopefully, optimistically, our industry come back online. 2, 3, 4 years out from now, this will be the fresh talent that will help us get back to pre-pandemic levels of tourism business. And of course, students who are starting in 2020, or any students who are involved in education right now, have been forced into a technology-enabled learning because of this disruption to the education system. But as a result, again, think about the boost in digital literacy skills. How will they be able to bring those skills to your workplace, to our industry for the better? And I know that this is a really challenging time, but especially if you're an employer, if you're an operator, if you're somebody invested in careers in tourism, maybe this is the time for you to reconnect with your local college, your local university, contribute to shaping tourism programs and ultimately helping us to continue to promote careers in tourism so we have a healthy workforce for the future. Again, when international students are recruited to come to Canada, they are inspired by the Canadian promise of a better life with career opportunities, cultural inclusion, and ultimately freedom and self-actualization. Isn't that really what the Canadian environment is all about? But I think that there's a really exciting opportunity. I believe firmly that Canada's tourism industry is built to deliver on this promise by creating welcoming, inclusive workplace cultures, by creating career entry opportunities that lead to advancement, by welcoming international students the way we welcome international guests. After all, we are hospitality and tourism. Welcoming international people is in our DNA, and ultimately supporting their journey towards becoming future Canadians. That's the promise that they are inspired by when they join here. And I truly believe that the tourism sector can play a big role in delivering on that promise. Again, as we're reflecting on the dynamics of the world we're living in right now, I think it's really important for us as employers to reflect on how important it is to create work environments where we're treating people positively, inclusively, where we're promoting careers and advancement, and we're really giving people the opportunity to understand the value of investing in a career in tourism. As said at the top, I know what a challenging situation we are finding ourselves in right now. And the road to recovery requires talent at a time where it is even more competitive to find highly skilled, highly educated people who can contribute to our businesses and our industry. I really think this is an opportunity for us to reflect on the value international students bring to our workplace and become a really great source of tourism talent. This is just the beginning. We only had 13 minutes to keep it short and snappy. My name is Joe Baker. You can find me everywhere at The Joe Baker. If you ever wondered what "the" stands for, well, it's tourism and hospitality education. This is what I've committed my life to because I believe passionately that the tourism industry is a great place to launch and build careers. Of course, we're experiencing challenges right now. I'm spending most of my time with OTEC, the Ontario Tourism Education Corporation. We've developed and launched a rapid response to the pandemic. We've developed a website. I encourage you to check it out and distribute it for affected workers, tourismhospitalityworkers.ca. Great resources, great training opportunities, and a connection to the job market. It has been a pleasure sharing my perspective with you, and thank you to Destination Canada for providing incredible slides that accompany this great journey that our international students are on. Take care of yourselves, reach out. I look forward to continuing this discussion. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you for joining us for this TIAC talk. The team at TIAC has worked hard to create a program that delivers ideas, solutions, and tools to help you navigate the pandemic and road to recovery. At TIAC, the focus is on ensuring there is a vibrant and successful visitor economy post-COVID-19, and we can't do it without you. Please visit TIAC's virtual booth to become a member and support their efforts.